I'm Kevin Tweedy, and you're listening to the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
Not bitter, just better. The all-new Everton podcast.
Okay, as I've just said, it's now time for our look ahead at the West Ham game on Saturday. And once again, welcome to our YouTube listeners, stroke viewers.
We decided listeners.
Listeners, yeah,
we did decide listeners. And obviously this week's game is Saturday 3 o'clock, which doesn't happen very often.
No, it'd be good to get back there at a normal time, reasonable time, won't it?
And we are welcoming the Hammers, West Ham, up to Goodison on Saturday. Quite a memorable game when we played them down at Upton Park this season, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think if it's anything like that game, it really did. It signalled the arrival of the big man Lukaku, and he really endeared himself to Evertonians with that impact he made, didn't he? Like, knocked himself out scoring. Yeah,
we're going back to Saturday the 21st of September last year. And the game finished 3-2, and probably, as you say, there was the Lukaku incident where he knocked himself out scoring the winner, and it was also memorable for two great free kicks from Leighton Baines.
It didn't all start off rosy though, did it? That goal from Ravel Morrison, who funnily enough has dropped down the league and gone on loan to QPR.
He started the season so well, didn't he? And now he's obviously... He got let go from Man United because of attitude problems, so he's obviously upset gravy face as well, hasn't he, to go down. So he'll probably get down and upset melted face down at QPR and end up at Charlton or somewhere.
Well, Harry seems to be a little bit more able to handle those kind of temperamental players, doesn't he? So
I think he just lets people get away with murder, doesn't he?
Probably, yeah. But do you remember the goal he scored, though, which just went in off Shaggy out his arse?
Yeah, I do. I remember it very well. But I would say my Everton goal of the season so far was scored in this game, which was Baines's second free kick.
Yeah, they were 1-0 up, then we got it back to 1-1 with one free kick, and then they managed to get a penalty. I think Nolan went down and Noble stepped up, and then in the 83rd minute, Bainesy, you were thinking, nah, he can't get two, can he? And he put it in the opposite corner, and it was literally...
perfect.
Peach. Just absolutely right in the corner. And then, so it was 2-2. And you were thinking, after being behind twice, well, I mean, we had a few efforts, a few bits of possession, but would you have taken the 2-2? I can't remember our reflection on this game, can you?
I think we were looking like the side who were more likely to win the game at the time, and then up stepped Big Romelu and put his head where it should never have been.
Yeah, so he had a little bit of a run with the ball. He laid it off to the wing, and then it was whipped in, and he got his head to it, which he didn't remember, and put us 3-2 up. Ended up getting the winner. Was knocked out for about 3 minutes. Yeah, jubilation, and fans went nuts. We went nuts.
Yeah, and then that was the period where Everton were really playing well, and Everton went from strength to strength from that result. Getting up into the touching on the top four for large parts of the season, and West Ham began to struggle really, and we're flirting with relegation. They've had a little bit of a mini revival over the last 4 or 5 games, and they're up to, is it 10th in the league now?
Yeah, 10th in the league. A whole 14 points behind us, and we're now in 7th.
14 doesn't sound that many, does it really? I know it is quite a massive gap, but...
Well, it's only 3 places, 14 points.
I know, that's a bit worrying, that really, isn't it? But anyway, they're coming off, actually, a good result last weekend. They beat Southampton at home, and we know how well Southampton are playing this season, and they did them 3-1.
Yeah, it's no mean feat at all. Once again, Kevin Nolan scoring, and I was going to put him in fancy foot. He scored twice, didn't he? So
he did, yeah. No, he only scored one, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he only scored one.
Twice
yeah, he did, yeah. I think for them struggling coincided, didn't it, with Nolan being out, and since he's come back, he started getting a few goals for them again.
Yeah, he spat his dummy out, didn't he? He got a couple of sending off, and you know he was the captain, and he spat his dummy a bit, and then since then he's really reacted well to coming back into the side, and yeah, he's really helped turn them around.
I hate him. I hate the fact that he's a cop-out. I hate his smug little face. And most of all, I hate that stupid little chicken dance he does every time he scores.
I don't mind him that much, to be honest.
Really? Oh, do you know what? I've just got a dislike for him. I really don't like the man. But yeah, as we say, they scored 3 goals last weekend, West Ham. Jarvis got the first one. I remember Jarvis looking dangerous in the first half against us, didn't he, when we played them in Upton Park?
Yeah, he's a tricky player.
Carlton Cole got the second for them, and as we said there, Kevin Nolan got one in the 71st minute. Looking at the way they set up, if I press the right button on the iPad, basically again, similar formation to ourselves. A lot of clubs seem to be adopting that now, with a flat back 4. Last week it was Demel, James Collins, James Tompkins and McCarthy, with Matty Taylor and Mark Noble in front of them, and then an attacking 4 of Jarvis, Nolan, Stuart Downing and Carlton Cole. So you look at that and they're all decent Premiership players, aren't they? Established players, really. There's no one that massively stands out. I'm not sure whether good old Andy Carroll's going to be fit for this game or not. Well, have you heard anything on the pipeline?
Isn't he suspended?
Is he suspended, is he?
Pass.
Well, there you go. I mean, we can deal with Andy Carroll. We've played against him a number of times before. I'm fairly confident about the game. I said this to you the other day. I said I think the next 5-6 games are all very winnable. I think we can start a good second half of the season run from Saturday.
I think the only stumbling block will be ourselves there. Our lineup, there's going to be no debate this time. There's going to be no Traore, so it's got to be Naismith up top.
Well, there is the debate of could Lukaku make a shock return, but I would have thought if he is ready, he'd be back on the bench, won't he? Yeah. I would have thought maybe a week too early this game for him. I would like to see him get back and get a bit of game time before the Arsenal FA Cup game.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to have some kind of boost in that area by then, if we're going to be looking to take something from this game and that game.
I think Naismith can do the business in this game at home. You know, you look at those centre halves for West Ham. James Tompkins never really impressed me. Collins is fairly solid, but he's not the quickest, not the cleverest of defenders. Bit of a brute at the back, so I can't see any reason why Naismith can't get in and do them a little bit of damage.
Fullbacks aren't the best, so you know we should be looking at Morales, Pina, whoever's playing in those forward midfield positions. We should be hoping. Do you think we'll be looking at the same question we ask every single week that's getting boring now? Are we looking at Morales, Osman and Pienaar to start, do you think? Or yeah, I can't see him throwing Barkley back in after that performance, can you?
I think he might do, just to pick his head back up. It's a bit of a funny one, that really, isn't it? Saying I would bring somebody back in straight after a bit of a poor performance, but if he's fully fit at the minute, I would actually start him. I
think I think I'd like to maybe see McGeady come in for Pienaar after how bright McGeady looked. And I think he should really fancy against those fullbacks. What about Delafeu? Any chance of him getting started? I think he didn't look as bright as McGeady. I think he's still a week or so off. But as you say, he did well against Arsenal in the league game. He might need an extra half hour or so before that. What has happened over the last couple of days is Everton have recalled both Kennedy and Pennington from Tranmere. They were on loan and both been doing well playing for Tranmere. There's some talk that possibly, in particular, Kennedy might start appearing on the bench. Well, Kennedy was brought in with, as a bright young talent, but he wasn't just brought in to boost the numbers, was he? He was really thought highly of in Scotland, and he's a proper winger. And we seem to have a few of them at the moment, and I wonder whether it coincides with Dunk being part of the first team, trying to get wingers in and around the club again. It could be the fact that Ferguson said he thinks they're good enough to be in and about the first team, couldn't it? So there we go. My man to watch as regards to West Ham this week is unfortunately going to be Kevin Nolan, even though I hate him. He is at the moment.
in a bit of a vein of form. He is scoring goals. He does have a habit, doesn't he, of scoring past Everton. He scored a couple past us in the past. So, I think if we can nullify him, then there isn't that much of a threat from anywhere in the West Ham team. And I think we should be able to win comfortably. I fancy us for a win, and I'm going to predict a 2-0 victory.
Yeah, what I said before, I just hope we carry on with the battling. But like I said at the Villa game a few weeks ago, if we scrape through with a 2-1 or a 1-0, we just need to get points back on the board again now, because it's just looking a little bit like we're kind of feeling sorry for ourselves a little bit, down as far as 7th. And you wouldn't have seen that, you know. I mean, I kind of half predicted it and said United are going to come good, but that's not been the case. We've just kind of fell by the wayside a little bit, and United have leapfrogged us without looking outstanding.
Well, they're on the same point as us. We have got a game in hand, which is against Crystal Palace. I mean, Tottenham getting beat was a big... Against Norwich last weekend was a bit of a boost to us. I keep saying this every time we play at home. At some point, the Goodison crowd have got to step up and also play their part. It's been so quiet recently at home.
But it's been nervous though, hasn't it?
It has been nervous, but we need to start
Derby defeat.
We need to start getting behind the lads. There's no wonder the heads go down and there's a bit of belief have been lost, because that seems to have happened in the crowd. So, you know, I hope Goodison's a bit noisier this weekend. It's 3 o'clock, it's a Saturday. Everyone should have had a chance to have a pint before the game. So let's get a bit of atmosphere going.
Hopefully no rain like the last Saturday game, and
So I say,
points back on the board.
I'm confident going into the game, and if you look at the fixtures that are coming up in the future, you know, we've got the likes of Swansea, you got the likes of Cardiff at home, Swansea at home, the rearranged Crystal Palace game at home, and then away games of Fulham and Newcastle. So they are all very winnable.
Yeah. So we could be 18 points better off within a few weeks.
Possibly. I mean, I would really like to stuff Newcastle after what Pardew said the other day. Did you read that?
He's an utter beaut.
I think the quote was something along the lines of, everyone's saying we're having a bad season. We're only 5 points behind Everton, who were having their best season ever.
No, we were having our best season in a long time, up until about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
I'd say we were having a fairly similar season to probably our last 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Plus,
now,
we've won the league umpteen times, so I can't see how it could be our best season ever.
Yeah, shut up, Pardew.
Idiot.
Yeah, and well, anyway, that's about us for another week.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be in high spirits next week, talking about our 2-0 win against West Ham with two Stephen Naismith goals.
Yeah.
And
maybe a Lukaku,
little sneaky one off the bench. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And yeah, it'll all be good news. And we can tell you about our new ground that's getting built, and we can come up with some better jokes than the OCD joke.
I just want to say thanks to Everton FC. You're in my heart, you're in my soul on Facebook. Shared our SoundCloud version of our podcast. So if you're listening on there and you're new to the podcast, thanks for listening, and you can subscribe on iTunes if you've got an iTunes, if you've got an Apple device, or if you've got it on your PC. Yeah,
as we said last week, any of our listeners, if you don't already like that page, You're in my heart, you're in my soul, and you go and you do like ours, I'm sure you'll be able to find the link to it somewhere. Just go on and give them a like, because the lad who runs it's a really good Evertonian, really good lad, and it's a great page.
Yeah. So we'll leave it there. Hopefully we beat the Hammers. We hammer the Hammers.
Hammer the Hammers.
And we'll be, as Mark said, we'll be in brighter spirits next week.